Every person seeks progress. Every heart longs for change. Every soul feels the call to grow. Yet so many remain stuck, not because they lack talent, not because they don't have dreams, but because they wait for motivation instead of building discipline, consistency. That is the invisible bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. Listen carefully. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel ready. But the path still demands to be walked. Life does not ask how you feel. It responds to what you do. You do not rise by chance. You rise by choice. And you must make that choice, not once but every single day. If you train only when it's easy, you will never be strong. If you show up only when it's convenient, you will never be consistent. And without consistency, there is no mastery, there is no growth, there is no peace. You see, people want results, but they run from repetition. They admire excellence, but they avoid the effort it demands. But excellence is not an act, it is a habit. The world does not give you what you wish for, it gives you what you work for, persist for, and fight for. Even on the days your body is tired and your mind whispers quit, force yourself to be consistent, not because it's glamorous, but because it's necessary, not because it feels good, but because it builds you. Each time you do what needs to be done, if you train only when it's easy, you will never be strong. This truth is simple, yet many ignore it. Comfort is seductive. It tells you to rest, to wait, to try again later. But growth does not come from comfort. It comes from resistance, from challenge, from walking straight into discomfort and not backing down. Anyone can act when conditions are perfect, when the mind is clear and the body feels light. But that's not where strength is forged. True strength is born on the days when you feel weak, when your motivation has vanished, when no one is watching and there's no applause waiting for you. That's when it matters most. People often wait for motivation like it's some kind of permission slip to act, but motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls like the wind. If you only move when you're inspired, you will live a life of inconsistency. The strongest individuals are not those who feel inspired every day. They are those who move forward regardless of how they feel, because they understand that progress is not made in bursts of energy. It is made in repetition. Repetition without glamour. Repetition without reward. Repetition even in silence. The process is what builds you, not the outcome, not the compliments, not the results. It is the quiet discipline of showing up again and again when it's hard, when it's boring, when it seems like nothing is changing. That's where strength is shaped, not in ease but in effort. If you show up only when it's convenient, you will never be consistent. Convenience is the enemy of growth. It tells you to wait until the timing feels right, until you're rested, until the mood strikes. But life rarely gives you perfect conditions. There will always be stress, distractions, responsibilities, and reasons to postpone. Those who wait for convenience are always preparing, always planning, always hoping but never moving. They think they're being careful, but what they're really doing is delaying. Character is revealed, not by what you do when it's easy, but by what you do when it's not. People chase balance, thinking life will eventually settle into a rhythm that makes consistency easier. But in truth, life never gets simpler. It just changes form. New challenges arrive, new distractions appear. The people who succeed are not those who wait for the noise to stop. They are those who learn to act within the noise. They learn to bring structure to chaos, to keep going not because it's necessary. And without consistency, there is no mastery, there is no growth, there is no peace. People often admire the results of mastery, the skill, the ease, the power, but they overlook the process that created it. Mastery is not achieved in sudden leaps. It is not the product of one good day or one powerful decision. It is the outcome of thousands of small, repeated actions, done over time, without fanfare, without reward, without anyone noticing. Mastery is quiet, it's slow, it's deliberate, and it demands consistency more than anything else. Growth too is tied to this same rhythm. You do not grow by doing something once or twice. You grow by doing it every day, by showing up even when progress feels invisible. Growth hides in repetition. It is subtle. Often you won't even realize it's happening until you look back and see how far you've come. But that kind of change, the deep lasting kind, only happens when your efforts are sustained, when you commit, not just when you feel like it, but when it's hard, when it's boring, when it feels like nothing is working. That's when the real transformation begins to unfold. And peace, the inner stillness that people long for, comes when your actions and intentions align. It comes when you stop negotiating with yourself, when you stop breaking promises to yourself. Inconsistency breeds anxiety because it leaves you uncertain, fragmented, disconnected from your purpose. but consistency grounds you. It creates a sense of order, of direction, of calm strength in the middle of a chaotic world. You see, people want results, but they run from repetition. They admire excellence, but they avoid the effort it demands. This contradiction is the silent reason why so many remain stuck. They envision the outcome, a strong body, a focused mind, a purposeful life, but they resist the process that leads there. They romanticize the finish line while refusing to take the necessary steps to even start the race. Repetition is often misunderstood. It's not dullness, it's refinement, it's precision. It's the daily sharpening of the blade until it becomes effortless, automatic, and powerful. The ones who rise are those who lean into repetition, even when it's tedious. Most people are addicted to novelty. They crave new routines, new goals, new shortcuts, because the old ones feel boring. But boredom is part of the journey. Mastery requires boredom. It requires doing the same thing again and again, without rushing, without skipping, without needing constant variety to stay engaged. That's where the deep transformation happens, beneath the surface, where nobody sees, where nobody claps. Repetition builds muscle, skill, and mindset. It rewires your brain and conditions your body. Over time, it shifts your identity, not just what you do, but who you are. Excellence is not a single act. It's a pattern, a standard, a way of moving through the world. And patterns are created through repetition, through doing the work even when you don't see results right away. Because the outcome doesn't arrive immediately, but the person you become along the way is the true reward. Each time you do what needs to be done, despite distraction, doubt, or discomfort, you become a little sharper, a little stronger, a little closer. The process of discipline is not a loud one. It's not dramatic or exciting. It's subtle. It unfolds in moments that seem insignificant. Return to what matters. You sharpen your focus. You train your mind to obey you, not the chaos around you. Doubt whispers that you're not good enough, that your effort won't make a difference, but every time you act in spite of it, you strengthen your belief, not by thinking more but by doing more. And discomfort, physical, mental, emotional, it tempts you to quit, to slow down, to make excuses. Yet every time you move through it, you increase your capacity to endure, to persist, to grow beyond your limits. The person who acts despite inner resistance becomes unshakable. Every disciplined act is a signal to your future self. I don't wait to feel ready. I do what is required. Over time, these acts compound. They form a foundation of resilience. And then something magical happens. The chaos in your life begins to organize itself. The noise in your head becomes quieter. The path ahead becomes clearer. Because when you stay consistent, you begin to create a rhythm, a steady pulse through the unpredictable tides of life. At first, it feels like nothing is changing. You still have stress, distractions, fears, but something underneath begins to shift. Your actions are no longer scattered or reactionary. They become intentional. Your habits begin to carry you, even when your mind is tired. You stop overthinking every step because momentum has taken over. And with momentum comes clarity. The brain craves order, but it cannot build that order on random, half-hearted efforts. It needs structure, predictability, a sense of direction. When you become consistent, you give your mind a pattern it can trust. That pattern slowly starts to untangle your inner mess. You spend less time debating with yourself, less time battling hesitation, and more time doing what matters. Your energy is no longer wasted on starting over again and again. It is invested in steady movement forward. As the internal noise lessens, your decisions become sharper. You no longer feel torn between what you want and what you do. You begin to live in alignment with your goals, your values, and your vision. External chaos loses its grip on you because your internal world has found stability. That is the power of consistency. It doesn't just improve your performance, it reshapes your reality, bringing order where there was once only confusion, torn between what you want and what you do. You begin to live in alignment with your goals, your values, and your vision. External chaos loses its grip on you because your internal world has found stability. That is the power of consistency. It doesn't just improve your performance, it reshapes your reality, bringing order where there was once only confusion,